Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our monthly webinars. My name is Monique Guerra. I'm the Homeless Youth Coordinator with Riverside County Continuum of Care. As you all know, or if you are new to the space, our COC does put on monthly webinars on different topics and also shares different resources so that your providers and your clients get the best information possible and get connected to everyone in our community. So please, if there's ever a time that you have any suggestions, let us know. Again, thank you so much to our presenters for being here today and just sharing their amazing resource with us. We're gonna move on. And again, we are recording these meetings. They will be posted on our website. And so if you do need to access this webinar or any other webinars that we have had in the past, that will be on our website. And so if our team can drop the link to our website and our webinars in the chat, that would be amazing. Here's my next slide.
Robin.
So again, got it. So again, our webinars are just an opportunity to really engage with resources in the community and share information with each other to best support our service providers and our clients. Again, our clients are our most vulnerable population of folks experiencing unsheltered homelessness, right? Seniors, TAY, and single family households. So if you are serving vulnerable groups, you are in the right space to get the best resources possible. Again, we are recording these webinars and posting them on our website for accessibility for everyone. And then any upcoming webinars, you'll get a calendar invite for, as well as a flyer. This flyer was brought to you by Mar. So thank you, Mar, for working on that. It looks beautiful. And then thank you to our presenters. You all have great pictures and bios. Thank you so much. And then again, if you are interested in any specific topic, or if you have a presenter in mind that you would like to connect this to, feel free to send us an email at coc@rivco.org. This is our agenda for today. So again, thank you all so much for being here and hearing from our amazing presenters. We will be learning about connecting homeless veterans to community colleges, the California MAP Initiative. Dr. Samuel Lee, thank you so much for being here. Terrence Nelson and Calvin Gloria. Thank you so much to all of you for being here and presenting. And again, thank you to our staff and our team that's on, always supporting our webinars and monthly meetings. So if you all would like to start with your introductions and share your screen, you are welcome to.
Thank you, Monique. I'll share my screen right now. All right, good to go. Am I sharing my, should be PowerPoint? Okay. All right, Dr. Lee, take it away.
Thank you, Cal. Thank you, folks, for inviting us to share with you today about the California MAP Initiative and to introduce credit for prior learning and talk about our community colleges and possible services and opportunities for vulnerable populations, veterans in the Inland Empire. I'm Sam Lee. I'm the Chief Ambassador of the California MAP Initiative. I'm also the Vice President of Academic Affairs at Norco College. But I'm on full release this year and next year to serve in this capacity to help develop services among our state colleges to improve opportunities for credit for prior learning, particularly for our veterans and also for working adults. And we will give you a little primer on the credit that our veterans are eligible for, and then the potential that can have for connecting them to higher ed, and then to a whole set of services that higher ed has to offer through our community college veteran centers. But we got this effort started about 6 years ago when we saw that we had an equity gap, or a gap among our veterans who were not accessing or completing college at the same rate as other students. And so we thought, what could we do about this? One of the strategies we set about was to create a system that would make it more automatic for veterans to get college credit in recognition of their military training. And we thought if we could offer credit to veterans based on their credit recommendations from their JST, which we'll show you in just a minute, that we could attract veterans from the region to come to college when they wouldn't otherwise maybe have come. and then get them connected to a set of services in a Veterans Resource Center. So part of the initiative was to create this system technology, and the other part was to create a Veterans Center, which we had a Veterans Center at the time, but it was just an office in our student services building. But what we were thinking about was something that would be a standalone center that would offer wraparound services, not only to our current students at the college, but to any veterans in the region, and have that host a variety of services, including drop-in hours from Cal Vet, the Corona Vet Center, Loma Linda VA, and a variety of other services. And so the picture behind Terrence right now is actually of our VRC, in which was opened, the doors opened to that, I think it's a little bit more than a year ago. So that came to fruition as a result of this strategy. And also the California MAP initiative has come to fruition, and we're now serving 76 colleges throughout the state. But I am going to turn it over to Terrence and Cal, who are going to take it from here and tell you a little bit more about the services. Terrence?
Awesome. Thanks, boss. All right, guys. Terrence Nelson. I actually joined this team a couple years ago, working on statewide credit for prior learning, but I come from the faculty ranks over the hill at Saddleback College, just north of Camp Pendleton. I was a veterans counselor and had basically built and administered their Veterans Resource Center for about 15 years. So joining the team with a lot of experience with the military. I'm civilian myself, but being a veterans counselor, working with a lot of service providers, U.S. Vets, saw many familiar organizations here in the room, working with many populations, but specifically our student veterans over there. So this is a very exciting project, and we'll talk about how it can kind of scale and maybe help some of your clients, but also maybe you or people in your life that might be able to receive some college credit and use the community college for upward social mobility. We'll talk a little bit later in the presentation about general services and supports at the community college if you're not familiar as well. And I see some familiar names and titles in the room that might be able to add to that conversation in the chat, or if you did want to raise your hand. So let me hand it on over to Cal to introduce himself, and then we'll jump right into the presentation.
Appreciate it, Terrence. Hi, everyone. Calvin Guerrero, project manager for the California MAP initiative. As we mentioned earlier, about 76 of the 160 California community colleges have now adopted the MAP. So with that said, I help institutions with both institutional and technical training of the platform. And today, we're going to be discussing our services at Norco, in addition to what CPL is, along with the California MAP initiative. I am a veteran myself, so this project's near to my heart. And when we heard that we are going to be connecting homeless veterans to community colleges, we had to take a jab at this and see how our services can assist and guide that population. All right, back to you, Mrs. Terrence.
All right, I'm going to hop right into our agenda. So we have 5 big things we wanted to hit on today. We'll prompt you, but please do, as we go through, raise your hand, jump in the chat, please interact, bring in your own experience with your clients or your own experience into the conversation. We want to make sure this is usable for you and we're not wasting your time. So we're going to hit on what the map, the mapping articulated pathways, what the platform's about, and why CPL, credit for prior learning, or if you're from the East Coast, they call it prior learning assessment, PLA. Why is that important? Why do the competencies you come into education, why is that important? And what we're doing currently in that space. Some of you may know what a JST is. Maybe you're way too familiar. Some of you may not. So we'll talk about joint services transcripts and prior learning, and how you can bring a community member or yourself into using the MAP search tool to see what you might get credit for based off of what your experience was in the military. Talk a little bit about support services offered at California community colleges. Nowadays, it's a different beast than when I went to Golden West College in the mid-90s. the amount of services and supports that are related to maybe the variables that are causing housing insecurities or homelessness. You'd be shocked at what we offer nowadays. Again, maybe you're familiar, maybe you're not, but we've definitely scaled up what we offer in the California community colleges. It does vary based off campus, but in general, there is a floor and a ceiling of what can be offered on our sites. And then we want to hear from you, brainstorm ways that we can collaborate, support you and support your clients, and maybe the other way around. Maybe there's some ways that you could support us in our efforts. Cal? All right, the California MAP Initiative, in general, it started as the military articulation platform. And as it grew, the basic concept, if you're familiar with advanced placement courses or international baccalaureate courses, IB or AP, what we do with typically the high achievers in high school, this is basically AP for adults, right? It's folks that are out in the workforce. For this population, it's experience in the Department of Defense and the DoD. We're looking at translating that joint services transcript or industry licensure into college credit, with the idea, get you back out to the workforce, get you to completion, bachelor's or associates, and out to the workforce to be self-sufficient in your career. So we want to expedite those pathways. That's what CPL is really about. That's what Credit for Prior Learning is really about. Treating reentry adult students, whether military or not, the same way we would treat our high school students as you try to expedite that completion. Cal? All right, nuts and bolts. What is it? There's 5 different prongs to Credit for Prior Learning. It's really looking at your competencies. So you come in and say you were LAR and you have experience in automotive all the way up to drivetrain, right? As a Marine, you shouldn't come in and have to take the intro to automotive technology. We should find a way to have you not just pass through that course and take a higher level, but receive credit if you want to stay in that same industry sector. So these are the different ways: industry certification, standardized exams. We have many military that have language skills and took the DLPT, Defense Language Proficiency Test. That's the same as a CLEP or an AP. Why shouldn't you receive language credit to get you through that general ed and not have you retake a language course, right? There's many different ways. Portfolio, credit by examination is probably as common as AP. It's basically coming in and contesting a course and taking an exam, so you don't have to sit through 4 months of a course when you have the competencies already. Cal? Looking through the non-military, I kind of touched on some of these, but many of our service members or family members do have experience outside of a joint services transcript, outside of what they did in the DoD. You might have been, in avionics, and then you got out and you worked in the computer information technology industry. And then, you hit hard times, cost of living's kind of crazy in Southern California, and you're facing out housing insecurities. You're going month to month. Well, you need to skill up. You need to gain some credentials or gain an associate's degree to move up in your occupation. These are ways to expedite that pathway so you don't have to start at square one. Contrary to like what most people, including me as a civilian, when I came in as a counselor, I started counseling right after 9/11. And there were a lot of folks that joined because of patriotism, but it actually bears out that as the RAND Corporation did a full study why folks joined the military, the number one motivator was higher education. That dangling of was called the post 9/11 GI Bill, Montgomery GI Bill. Now it's called the Forever GI Bill. That really entices a lot of folks. Education's expensive. Upward social mobility is important in our country. And it's important to be able to pay your bills. You want to have a good job, good professional job after you leave the military. So that's the number one driver right now, and it has been for quite some time for folks joining the military. 53% of respondents indicated that. It also has a higher indication among minority students, which is an interesting, or minority veterans as a motivator. One thing we do want to note, if you don't know about the GI Bill and how it works, it's called Chapter 33 in the benefit type, Title 38, Chapter 33. It only lasts, if you fully rate for that benefit, 36 months. So you're talking 4 years of what they consider 4 years, 9-month years, because you don't go to school in the summer according to the VA. But you only have that benefit for 36 months. So it's very difficult to get to that end goal of a bachelor's degree going through that. So you definitely, any way we can use credit for prior learning to expedite, get someone close to that threshold, the California community colleges want to allow that to happen. Cal? All right. What some of the main barriers? You guys are probably hearing this yourselves, out in the field with your clients. Finances are tough right now, but that GI Bill benefit expiring before you're done. That's why we have dropouts. That's why the attrition rate. It's actually not bad, but there shouldn't be any attrition rate among our veterans, more mature, experienced students. But the reason there is that complication is that the benefits just don't last. Disability wellness. There's other reasons. You probably are seeing some of these within the barriers that you're facing with your clients as well. So this isn't unfamiliar. Cal? One interesting thing is looking through service connection. So what I'd highly recommend, if you're not familiar with service-connected disabilities and potential compensation and then support for those disabilities through the VA, oftentimes when you're working with your clients, if you get a sniff of any potential disability, whether that's musculoskeletal, hearing loss is really common, but it could be mental health related with their military service. Really get folks with the service officer to kind of help them through their documents, get their DD-214, and see if there's a potential to get them service connected. We're seeing such high rates at the community college, not just of a singular disability, but comorbid disabilities where there's multiple things affecting someone's livelihood, right? Affecting their success at school, but also in the job. So the more connections they can get and more supports they can get, the better. This also relates back to the Chapter 33 benefits, the potential of qualifying for vocational rehabilitation, basically a benefit to help you occupationally help you with your job, but it does pay for your education potentially. You have to be service connected to qualify for Chapter 31. So we in the education side really push, hey, that service connection, if there is anything related with your military service, jump onto it. We're seeing very high rates with that. The other piece is the transition stress. Transitioning into higher ed has become a significant issue. When you don't look like the other students in the classroom, you feel that imposter syndrome, I don't belong here. Know that we have VRCs. We'll get into that a little bit later. But CPL is another way to ease that stress. Hey, this college, Riverside College or Chaffey College or Moreno Valley, we respect what you've done. We respect your learning. We respect you as a human being. You have a place here. That's an important piece to this factor with our MAP initiative. Cal? All right, we're going to hop on next one. A matter of time. Primary goal it is reducing, potentially easing back and erasing transition stress by offering that CPL, but also the VRC support, the blanket of support, the network of support that you can get in a Veterans Resource Center. I hope you all are familiar. I hope maybe you have an opportunity, depending on what provider you work for or you're supporting today, but stop by a California community college and just say, hey, where's your Veterans Resource Center? Can I connect? Can I learn what's on campus there? And nudge them about MAP and credit for prior learning. It's good to keep informed, but also that network and supportive care is very important. Oh. In general, just a general view of California public education, we have 72 different districts and 116 California community colleges. There's a lot of them, right? In the Inland Empire, they are spread out a bit compared to like an LA or San Francisco. But because they're spread out, we don't necessarily have as many students that are bouncing from campus to campus, but we do have some. There's a lot of colleges out there. Do take advantage of them, see what the opportunities are. One of the main opportunities, about 95% of the student educational plans we create at the California community colleges for veterans are transfer pathway. They are really looking at maximizing the use of that GI Bill. So we have great opportunities to transfer and get bachelor's degree. But there's hundreds of CTE, career technical education, vocational areas that we offer as well. Welding to real estate to carpentry to electrician. We have tons of different CTE programs. So please do take a look at what the offerings are and what the supports are. The one of the issues, the things that we're facing with this MAP initiative is everything's locally controlled. there's a good thing. It means those faculty that teach in the area that know fire technology or law enforcement, they're going to have their eyes on it and be technical experts in that field. But the negative piece is you might get a different experience from campus to campus to campus in terms of your credit for prior learning or even the courses that are offered. So you want to be pretty wise about what you're choosing. The MAP initiative, when we talk about the technology, and Cal's going to get into that a bit, as you're searching for which institution is best for your client, geography matters most, cost matters most, transportation, right? But there's these other intangibles about what programs you offer. What does that program look like? Do I have an expedited pathway to finish in 6 months or 12 months rather than 2 years? There's a lot of variables that come into play, and we're gonna display some of those and how you can dig through that with your clients. Cal.
Awesome. Thank you, Terrence. So now we're going to touch on what Terrence was speaking to earlier on getting credit for prior learning from the joint services transcript. Now, I know the audience here today are familiar with the JST, but just to touch on it, I mentioned earlier I'm a veteran, so when I got out the military, I myself was able to successfully order a joint services transcript, which provided all of my training and courses that I have done in the military in an official document provided by the Department of Defense. Now, to the clients, as Terrence was mentioning earlier, this applies to all service members, veterans, active duty, reservists, and it applies to 4 of the branches, which is the Army, the Marine Corps, Navy, and Coast Guard. Now, these specific documents, the JST, are accepted by over 2,300 colleges and universities, and they are free of charge. So once you connect that veteran with the JST website, they can actually order their own JST and send it to the recipient, which is the institution that they plan on attending. In addition to that, the JST includes, as I mentioned earlier, personal information about the specific student, their course completions, their experiences, and even college level test scores that they may have taken while they were in service. Now, just to touch on the JST itself, how does it look like? Now, every single JST has a branch of service along with the ACE seal, which is American Council on Education. It'll always provide that service members general information along with the transcript where they are sending it to, which is the recipient. And also it'll provide you 2 sections, which is the military courses and the military experience. For example, recruit training here for the Navy, it will annotate their boot camp. Now on the left-hand side, every part of the course and experience on the JST will have general information, which is critical for the community colleges for CPL because this is the information they will take and utilize to connect with appropriate courses for that credit for prior learning. Now, what I'm going to show you next will be the summary page. So the reason why this is the most important piece is because it's the accumulation of all of the courses and experiences along with college courses that that specific member took while they were in service in the military. From the title of their specific training all the way to the unit value that they can get accommodated for if credit for prior learning applies. Now, in addition to that, every single JST does come with an education page, which includes the courses they took while they were in the military or apprenticeship hours while serving in that service. Now, this is for, again, our audience in the field and how that specific veteran or if they're homeless can get that JST. There's 2 options. We can help them get connected with the website, which is jst.dod.mil, to order their JST, or if they just walk into the institution and apply for that college, they can actually ask their coordinators or directors of the VRC, the Veterans Resource Center, to order on their behalf. So that removes a barrier from that service member having to order a transcript. Now, here's the piece that Terrence highlighted earlier, which is how do we actually figure out what type of credit profiling is eligible for our service members. Now, I have here our website, map.rccd.edu, and we have created a tool, a feature that can help our service members figure out if they're eligible for CPL and if it applies to the program study. Now, here on the top right, we have a specific tab, search for credit. Now, how does that work? Now, earlier I mentioned that student can rather grab their own JST or they can have the institution order for them. But in this case, in this scenario, the student will have the JST. Now, on any platform, or they want to use their phone, they can actually upload their JST. And how that looks like is on the center, you select upload, or they can enter their MOS, their military occupation specialty code, or their rating specifically for the Navy and Coast Guard, and they can select what is the job or occupation they did in the military. Now, this will provide them a list of what they have done in accordance to their rate and or MOS. Now, for
Hey, Cal.
example, yes, sir.
Cal? Yeah, can I jump in? Because, I don't know that I explained it well enough when I was prompting you that um, you may have clients or you may yourself have a JST and say, man, I went to Riverside City College a few years ago, even 3, 4 years ago, and they said I'm not getting any credit. Or, I have a client that's at San Jacinto and that wants to go there, but they served 20 years ago. The policies have changed recently. And I think that's something that I needed to initiate before you came in, is the experience your family friends that were veterans or your clients had may not be the same experience you'd have today. So that's why this is important, is we're building this up. Literally, Cal had a different experience when he came in as a student at Norco than he would have today when he walks onto campus, because we've created articulations. We really pushed the envelope with credit for prior learning. So if you do get some pushback, hey, I've tried that already. Getting your joint services transcript is free, as Cal said. It's free, and the college can help you do it, or you can help a client do it. But it's also what you did 5, 10 years ago. The college is going to react to it differently today. So understand that.
Agreed. Thank you, Terrence. Now, this is just an example of how to upload a JST. You select the file. I'm actually going to select mine. And if I open it, it will provide me a summary of what it looks like for eligible credits. Now, going out the military, and I wanted to select a college near my geographic area where I went home, I could select on the bottom right here where it says select college to see eligibility. It will actually provide you a list of current articulations if they already have it at the institution. But with that said, on the top, it says I have a minimum of possible 37 credits that could be applied to my student educational plan if articulated with that specific institution. Now, this just incentivizes our veteran population to go back to college, and CPL in relation will actually save us that time and the effort with credit for prior learning. Terrence touched on it earlier. For post 9/11 GI Bill, or what we call now the Forever GI Bill, it is only about 36 months. But typically, in average, it takes about 44 to about 60 months to get a degree. So validating our experience and course in the military will definitely help us, not just in our institutional route, but again, it will validate the experience and coursework that we have done in the military. Now, Terrence, I'm going to leave this to you before I go into specifics of North College, but to touch on just other community colleges in California.
Yeah, if you do have experience, please feel free to raise your hand or put it in the chat. About what you know about the community colleges. I've been a counselor. I was a student back in the day, like I said, in Golden West, and then I've been a graduate assistant coach and a counselor, a staff member, and administrator at the California community colleges for over 2 decades. And it's just amazing where we've come from. Food services for people that are struggling to make do to get a meal during the day, mental health services, housing services. The type of supports and benefits have grown tremendously, and that fear of coming onto campus, but I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. I don't know if I'm going to fit in here. I don't know if I'm ready. We have entry points at basic skills level all the way up to folks that have significant AP exams and incredibly high SATs that might want to stretch a little bit and get a subsidized, cheaper education, less expensive education, I should say. But know that Cal's gonna go into the Veterans Resource Center at Norco College. Yes, it is one of the top VRCs in the state. I like to brag about that, but there are very similar supports at most of our peer campuses, whether it's in the Riverside Community College District or out at other IE or desert region colleges. So please reach out to them. There might be some things that you have in your bag of tricks with a client that can be supplemented with the supports and the offerings at the community colleges. So that's kind of my pitch is don't let the fear of higher ed and the client's fear of higher ed thinking they can't afford it. Sometimes there actually might be more supports there that they can ratchet back with other things in the workforce, focus on their education, job retooling, because there's enough supports there for them to make it to that next level to self-sustenance. So just want to put that plug in. Do reach out to your local California Community College. Again, Norco's top notch, but there's going to be some similar services around at your local colleges too. Cal?
Awesome. Thank you, Terrence. So now I'm going to be talking about Norco College's Veterans Resource Center. So Norco College is one of 3 in the Riverside Community College District, along with Riverside City College and Moreno Valley College. But as Terrence mentioned earlier, the services that we offer here can be similar to other community colleges in the state, all the way from Lassen College up north, all the way down to San Diego Community College District. Now, for our specific college in Norco, we want to highlight that we do offer a majority or in different types of associate degrees, which is what we call ADTs. We have over 24 now, in addition to certificates and degrees, which we have different programs and totaling up to 78 and above. And usually our center is open Monday to Friday from 8 to 4 p.m. Now, Dr. Lee mentioned earlier, this beautiful facility opened up just 2 years ago in mid-November. So this is actually how our VRC exterior looks like, and we welcome all veterans, all dependents, and affiliated into our services to where we can assist them in any way possible. And also here's how our VRC interior looks like. Well, we have a designated lounge area, we have a counseling room, we have a section for the CalVet, CalTap to come in, for our vet center, and all other services that can assist our veteran population. Now, the Norco College Veteran Center, we'd like to call a safe space for all service member types, from veterans, active duty to reservists, and their dependents and families. The reason why we say that is because we want to ease their transition from their service to our Veterans Resource Center and guide them any way we can possible. Now, with that said, I do want to talk about the ed benefits that are applicable to our service members from Chapter 30 all the way to Chapter 1607. Now, what we do want to discuss today is Chapter 33, which is the post 9/11 GI Bill, or what we call the Forever GI Bill. Now, with this, you get up to 36 months in addition to what we call a book stipend, which service members receive when they take their full-time courses or half-time courses at any community college. For what I've seen and the data, it looks like most service members getting out the military or those who are activating their Chapter 33, the Forever GI Bill, it does depend on the location of the institution and how they receive their benefits. For example, one of them is the basic allowance for housing, which they receive a full amount if they take full-time courses, in addition to the book stipend I mentioned earlier and all the other amenities that the institution offers them, or specifically the VRC. Now, what we do want to touch on is the VRC for all community colleges, and specifically for Norco, is basically a one-stop shop for services. For example, we have educational counseling along with educational advising at the VRC for our veterans. Also, we have admission and records who can help support, get that student started from application process all the way to graduation process, in addition to financial aid. So we like to highlight financial aid because although that student may be receiving their benefits from their post 9/11 GI Bill or Forever GI Bill, they can also receive financial aid, whether it's Pell Grant or other additional offers and grants applicable to them. Also, we have what we call a certifying official who will actually provide information to the VA for those students utilizing their GI Bill. In addition to that, we did touch earlier that a traditional college student is typically 18 to 24 years old, but most veterans that get out of the military or those who activate and start their college journey in a later date, we need that additional assistance, whether it's tutorial support or basic needs. And also we want to touch on Disability Resource Center. So we always recommend and suggest for our service members that come into the VRC to go to the Disability Resource Center to get some type of accommodation that can support them during their academic journey. In addition to that, we have a Corona Vet Center that can stop by. We also have mental health. We have about 2 personnel designated for service members that are at least taking a minimum of 1 unit that can utilize our services here at Norco College. Also, we have a CSU UC visits, as Terrence mentioned earlier, that 2+2 pathway where we can set up that student for success, and also partnership collaborations, and also a career center to where once they finish their associate's degree or certificate, we have another department catered and in charge of the career center to get our veterans back into the workforce. Now, how does our amenities look like? We mentioned earlier a brand new Veterans Resource Facility, up to 3,200 now in BAH for Chapter 33. Now, this number here, the 3,200, is specific for San Bernardino area. Now, it does increase if you go up north to San Francisco or LA and also San Diego. I did mention earlier, along with the BAH and possible financial aid that our service members may receive, they can also get a book stipend that will help them pay for their books. In addition to designated study areas, the lounges, what we like to call family days, and we have games and everything for them to just help that specific service member relax and be in their safe space, and also build a camaraderie with their other peers that are currently at the VRC. Now, also to help out that service member, we provide them access to computers and printing so they don't have to go to the local library or pay for the materials. We also supply them with additional things for college. For example, pencils, folders, test toolkits, everything they need in order to succeed. Another thing that I can proudly say is a big factor in the VRCs are the Student Veterans of America, which also known as the Veterans Club. Now, when I was in, I remember getting out. It was a place where I didn't belong because, again, I was 25 years old when I entered college. I felt like all the students there were younger than me, and I was one of the oldest with my military background. So what helped me really connect was the Veterans Club. And because of that club, I was able to find peers and the same veterans who had the same backgrounds as myself with MOS and ratings. And because of that, some of my close friends now started and adopted from the Veterans Club. So I highly recommend to the clients that we speak to, the JST, the Veterans Club, where we can get associated, and again, build that camaraderie like we did in the military. Also, another opportunity are the VA and federal work studies. So once you utilize your GI Bill, you can actually be employed by the VRC through the VA. And if that's not an opportunity for you, the institution can actually supply you with federal work study if you are financial aid eligible. Now, in addition to that, we also supply not meals, but accommodate to snacks to where we can help them study and water and everything they need as an essential. And Terrence, is there anything you want to touch on this before we go to our resources and our brainstorming session?
Nope, good to go.
Awesome, thanks, Terrence. So now we did provide CPL and PLA resources for our audience members here that they can utilize and share with their team and veterans. And to learn more about the specific area on veterans, we are doing a session or a summit which takes place November 3rd. So for those interested, please, this is definitely something I want to plug. I do talk about more on the veterans side and how they can utilize their JST or during service transcript to get credit for their experience and their courses. Again, we say it before and we say it now, it's the credits that they deserve. And then we end with, we want to leave about 5 to 10 minutes with just questions from the field and also an ability to brainstorm with our partners here today.
Thank you so much. Calvin and team for that amazing presentation. I know that it will serve a lot of our service providers in helping guide their clients. Folks, if anyone has any questions at the moment, please feel free while I pull up the PowerPoint again.
Thank you. And then I did see one that Dr. Lee, you mentioned in the chat earlier.
COC team, if you can help me just check the chat to make sure there aren't any other questions. Calvin, you said you saw a question in the chat.
Yes, ma'am. Answered already by one of our colleagues, Dr. Lee.
Got it. Beautiful. And I'll add some of that information. Okay. No other questions at this time, folks? If we can use our reactions and just give a round of applause, or if you want to just say thank you to our presenters, thank you again so much for your time. Just taking time, during your day to make sure that folks are staying connected is amazing, and we appreciate that. Folks, we will send out an email after we post this webinar recording on the website. We'll go ahead and send you the link for that, and then our next webinar will be Thursday, November 9th. And if you do have any questions, comments, or concerns, please go ahead and reach out to us at coc@rivco.org. If there's nothing else, we will end here. Thank you so much, presenters. You all are great. Thank you, service members, for being here, and COC team as usual. We will see you all at the next webinar. Bye, everyone. Have a good day.